When installing conduit and controls for a propane or liquefied petroleum gas filling system, it's crucial to adhere to the requirements outlined in the National Fire Protection Association or NFPA standards and the National Electrical Code or NEC. These codes provide guidance on ensuring safety in hazardous locations. NFPA 58, titled Liquefied Petroleum Gas Code, is a primary resource. Article 5 specifically addresses systems serving fixed equipment for vapor withdrawal. This article provides detailed information on the installation of propane filling systems, including the conduit and control aspects. Annex of NFPA 58 serves as an informational annex for Class 1 and Class 2 installations. It offers supplementary guidance for electrical installations within these classified hazardous locations. The NEC, specifically NFPA 70, plays a vital role. Article 500 of the NEC defines hazardous classified locations and provides general requirements for electrical installations within these areas. Article 501 focuses specifically on Class 1 locations, encompassing Division 2 areas, which are relevant to propane filling systems. Table 500.83 in the NEC classifies locations according to the gas, vapor, or liquid involved. This table identifies propane or liquefied petroleum gas as a Class 1, Division 2 hazardous material. Regarding emergency shutoff requirements, NFPA 58, in Article 5.95, mandates the installation of an emergency shutoff valve on all propane filling systems. The NEC, in Article 500.54, also requires emergency shut-off devices where necessary to reduce the hazard in Class 1 locations. Beyond NFPA 58 and NFPA 70, other resources may be relevant. NFPA 30, the Flammable and Combustible Liquids Code, provides additional guidance on handling flammable liquids. ANSI or UL 58, which is the standard for industrial control units for use in hazardous classified locations, offers specific requirements for control units used in these environments. To ensure compliance with all applicable codes and regulations, it is essential to consult with the local authority having jurisdiction, also known as the AHJ. The AHJ can provide specific interpretations and requirements for the installation in question. NFPA 58 provides comprehensive requirements for liquefied petroleum gas installations, covering various aspects to ensure safety. Firstly, regarding the location of the containers, NFPA 58 specifies minimum distances from buildings, property lines, and other important features. These distances depend on the container size and the type of installation, whether it's above ground or underground. The code also dictates requirements for container construction and testing, ensuring that they can withstand the pressures and environmental conditions they will be exposed to. These requirements cover material specifications, welding procedures, and pressure testing protocols. Furthermore, NFPA 58 addresses the proper installation of piping systems, including material selection, jointing methods, and pressure testing. The code emphasizes the importance of leak testing to prevent gas leaks and potential hazards. Pressure relief devices are crucial safety components, and NFPA 58 provides detailed requirements for their selection, installation, and maintenance. These devices are designed to relieve excess pressure within the container, preventing ruptures or explosions. NFPA 58 also covers filling procedures, addressing safe practices for transferring liquefied petroleum gas into containers. These procedures include grounding and bonding to prevent static electricity buildup, as well as proper venting to avoid overpressure. Ventilation is another important aspect, especially for indoor installations. NFPA 58 provides requirements for ventilation systems to prevent the accumulation of flammable vapors. These systems can be natural or mechanical, depending on the specific application. Regarding fire protection, NFPA 58 specifies requirements for fire extinguishers and other fire suppression systems. The type and number of fire extinguishers depend on the size and type of installation. Electrical requirements are also addressed, ensuring that electrical equipment is suitable for use in hazardous locations. This includes proper grounding, bonding, and the use of explosion-proof equipment where necessary. NFPA 70, the National Electrical Code, provides specific guidelines for electrical installations in hazardous classified locations. Firstly, Article 500 of the NEC defines hazardous classified locations, categorizing them based on the type of hazard present. This article provides general requirements for electrical equipment and wiring in these locations. Article 501 specifically addresses Class 1 locations, which involve flammable gases or vapors. It outlines requirements for wiring methods, equipment, and grounding to minimize the risk of ignition. Division 1 and Division 2 are classifications within Class 1 locations, each with specific requirements. Division 1 locations have a higher probability of flammable gases or vapors being present, requiring more stringent measures. Division 2 locations have a lower probability but still require precautions. Article 505 covers zone classifications, which are an alternative to the division system. Zones are based on the frequency and duration of flammable gas or vapor presence, providing a more detailed risk assessment. Wiring methods in hazardous locations must be designed to prevent the ignition of flammable gases or vapors. This includes the use of rigid metal conduit, cable with gas-tight fittings, and other approved methods. Sealing requirements are also crucial, preventing the migration of gases or vapors from one area to another. Seals are typically installed at the boundaries of hazardous locations, as well as at enclosures containing arcing or sparking devices. Equipment used in hazardous locations must be specifically listed and labeled for the class, division, or zone in which it is installed. This ensures that the equipment is designed and tested to withstand the conditions in that location. Grounding and bonding are essential for preventing static electricity buildup and providing a path for fault currents. The NEC provides detailed requirements for grounding and bonding in hazardous locations. Intrinsically safe systems are a method of protection that limits the energy available in electrical circuits, preventing ignition. The NEC provides requirements for the design and installation of intrinsically safe systems. Explosion-proof enclosures are designed to contain an internal explosion, preventing it from propagating to the surrounding atmosphere. The NEC specifies requirements for the construction and testing of explosion-proof enclosures. Purged and pressurized systems use clean air or inert gas to maintain a positive pressure within an enclosure, preventing the entry of flammable gases or vapors. The NEC provides requirements for the design and operation of purged and pressurized systems. Emergency shut-off requirements for propane filling systems are crucial for safety. NFPA 58 and NFPA 70 both address these requirements, emphasizing the need for readily accessible shut-off devices. NFPA 58, in Article 5.95, mandates the installation of an emergency shut-off valve on all propane filling systems. This valve should be located in a safe and accessible location, allowing for quick shut-off in case of an emergency. The valve should be clearly marked and easily identifiable. NFPA 70, in Article 500.54, requires emergency shut-off devices where necessary to reduce the hazard in Class 1 locations. This may include shut-off switches for electrical equipment, as well as valves for gas or liquid lines. The location of emergency shut-off devices should be carefully considered, taking into account the potential hazards and the need for quick access. Signage should be provided to clearly indicate the location and function of these devices. Training is essential for personnel who may need to operate emergency shut-off devices. They should be familiar with the location of the devices and the procedures for shutting down the system in an emergency. Regular inspections and maintenance of emergency shut-off devices are necessary to ensure that they are in good working order. This includes checking for corrosion, damage, and proper operation. Remote shut-off capabilities may be required for certain installations, allowing for shut-off from a safe distance. This can be particularly useful in situations where access to the immediate area is hazardous. The design and installation of emergency shut-off systems should be in accordance with all applicable codes and standards. This includes NFPA 58, NFPA 70, and any local regulations. The authority having jurisdiction, or OJ, should be consulted to ensure compliance with all requirements. In addition to the NFPA and NEC codes, other resources and standards can provide valuable guidance for propane filling system installations. NFPA 30, The Flammable and Combustible Liquids Code provides comprehensive requirements for the storage, handling, and use of flammable and combustible liquids. This code can be helpful in understanding the overall fire hazards associated with propane. ANSI or UL58, the standard for industrial control units for use in hazardous classified locations, provides specific requirements for control units used in hazardous locations. This standard ensures that the control units are designed and tested to prevent ignition of flammable gases or vapors. Industry best practices can also provide valuable guidance. These practices are often developed by organizations such as the Propane Education and Research Council, or PERC, and the National Propane Gas Association, or NPGA. These organizations offer training programs, publications, and other resources to promote safe propane handling practices. Manufacturers' instructions should always be followed when installing and operating propane equipment. These instructions provide specific guidance on the proper installation, operation, and maintenance of the equipment. Consulting with experienced professionals can also be beneficial. These professionals can provide valuable insights and guidance based on their experience with propane filling system installations. It is important to stay up to date on the latest codes, standards, and best practices. Codes and standards are constantly evolving, and it is important to be aware of the latest changes. Continuing education and training can help ensure that you are up to date on the latest information. Remember, consulting with the local authority having jurisdiction, or OJ, is crucial for ensuring compliance with all applicable codes and regulations. The AHA can provide specific interpretations and requirements for the installation in question. The NEC, specifically Articles 500 through 505, categorizes hazardous locations based on the type of hazard, the probability of the hazard being present, and the characteristics of the hazardous material. Firstly, Class 1 locations involve flammable gases or vapors. Secondly, Class 2 locations involve combustible dusts. Thirdly, Class 3 locations involve ignitable fibers or flames. Within each class, divisions or zones further classify the degree of hazard. Division 1 locations have a high probability of the hazardous material being present under normal operating conditions. Division 2 locations have a low probability, but the hazardous material may be present under abnormal conditions. Zones are an alternative classification system used for Class 1 locations based on the frequency and duration of flammable gas or vapor presence. Zone 0 locations have a continuous presence of flammable gas or vapor. Zone 1 locations have a frequent or occasional presence. Zone 2 locations have an infrequent presence. Electrical equipment used in hazardous locations must be specifically designed and tested to prevent ignition of the hazardous material. This equipment is typically labeled with the class, division, or zone for which it is approved. Explosion-proof equipment is designed to contain an internal explosion, preventing it from propagating to the surrounding atmosphere. Intrinsically safe equipment limits the energy available in electrical circuits, preventing ignition. Pushed and pressurized equipment uses clean air or inert gas to maintain a positive pressure within an enclosure, preventing the entry of the hazardous material. Wiring methods in hazardous locations must be designed to prevent the ignition of the hazardous material. Rigid metal conduit, or RMC, is a common wiring method used in hazardous locations. Cable with gas-tight fittings is another acceptable wiring method. Sealing fittings are used to prevent the migration of flammable gases or vapors through conduit systems. Grounding and bonding are essential for preventing static electricity buildup and providing a path for fault currents. Proper ventilation is crucial for preventing the accumulation of flammable gases or vapors. Emergency shut-off systems should be provided to quickly shut down the system in case of an emergency. Training is essential for personnel who work in hazardous locations. They should be familiar with the hazards, the safety procedures, and the proper use of equipment. Regular inspections and maintenance are necessary to ensure that equipment is in good working order. The authority having jurisdiction, or OJ, should be consulted to ensure compliance with all applicable codes and regulations. Understanding the properties of propane is essential for safe handling and installation. Propane is a flammable gas that is heavier than air. This means that it tends to accumulate in low-lying areas. Propane is also colorless and odorless, so an odorant is added to make it detectable. The lower explosive limit, or LEL, of propane is approximately 2.1% by volume in air. The upper explosive limit, or UL, is approximately 9.5% by volume in air. This means that propane will only ignite when the concentration in air is between 2.1% and 9.5%. Propane is typically stored and transported as a liquid under pressure. When released from pressure, it vaporizes and becomes a gas. Propane is used for a variety of applications, including heating, cooking, and powering vehicles. When working with propane, it is important to take precautions to prevent leaks in ignition. Never smoke or use open flames near propane. Ensure that all equipment is properly grounded and bonded. Use only approved equipment that is designed for use with propane. Store propane containers in a well-ventilated area. Inspect propane equipment regularly for leaks and damage. If you smell propane, evacuate the area immediately and call the fire department. The installation of conduits and controls for a propane filling system requires careful planning and execution to ensure safety and compliance with all applicable codes and regulations. Firstly, begin by reviewing the project plans and specifications to understand the scope of the work. Identify the hazardous locations and the required class, division, or zone classifications. Select the appropriate conduit and fittings for the hazardous location. Use rigid metal conduit, or RMC, or other approved wiring methods. Ensure that all fittings are gas-tight and properly installed. Install sealing fittings to prevent the migration of flammable gases or vapors through the conduit system. Ground and bond the conduit system to prevent static electricity buildup and provide a path for fault currents. Install the necessary control devices such as switches, sensors, and valves. Ensure that all control devices are approved for use in a hazardous location. Wire the control devices in accordance with the NEC and the manufacturer's instructions. Test the completed installation to ensure that it is functioning properly. Verify that all connections are tight and that there are no leaks. Document the installation, including the location of all conduit, fittings, and control devices. Provide training to personnel who will be operating and maintaining the system. Obtain approval from the authority having jurisdiction, or OJ, before putting the system into operation. Regular inspections and maintenance are essential for ensuring the continued safe operation of the propane filling system. Inspect the conduit system for damage, corrosion, and loose connections. Test the control devices to ensure that they are functioning properly. Inspect the grounding and bonding connections. Verify that the ventilation system is operating properly. Keep the area around the propane filling system clear of combustible materials. Maintain accurate records of all inspections and maintenance activities. Address any issues or concerns promptly. By following these guidelines, you can help ensure the safe and compliant installation and operation of a propane filling system.